Guys, the Astros have been linked to a lot of different players so far this offseason. But when Brian McTaggart reports about the Astros being linked to a specific player, I take notice because I think McTaggart does a very good job covering the Houston Astros, as he's been doing it for a long time for MLB.com. He said the Astros are taking a wait-and-see approach with Michael Brantley as a possible option in the outfield, but they're showing interest in free agent outfielder Michael Conforto. He's left-handed, spent his first 7 years of his career with the Mets. He didn't play last season because he was recovering from right shoulder surgery, and he did not have a great 2021. The last time we saw Michael Conforto going into a contract year, he hit .232, 14 home runs, 55 RBIs. Now, remember, right before the trade deadline, there was a report from somewhere that the Astros and Conforto were close to a deal. Obviously, that never happened, but that came from somewhere. So we know the Astros have at least shown interest in the past in Conforto, and now they've been connected to him once again this offseason. Is he a guy, BK, that you think would make sense for the Houston Astros?
Yeah, that report came from Scott Boras. Nice job, Scott. He reported that the Astros were offering him a 2-year, $30 million deal, and then literally the next day everybody found out that that never happened. No, by the way, Scott Boras couldn't get his client a deal at all last season, so it really mishandled the Michael Conforto situation. But to answer your question, Jake, yeah, I'm interested in Michael Conforto. He'll be 30 at the start of next season, but he's been a pretty good player for the majority of his career. An all-star back in 2017. You mentioned it in 2021. The last time we did see him, he didn't play all that well. His OPS plus was 100, which is league average. So literally just an average player in his last full year with the Mets, but was really good in the COVID season, really good in 2019 too. He had a 3-year stretch in the prime of his career with the Mets where he hit 27, 28, and 33 home runs. He's shown some flashes of really good play. He's got good plate discipline. He walks a lot. We know the Astros like guys who walk a lot and have good plate discipline and a good eye up there. He also gives you some position versatility, can play all three outfield spots. He can't really play center field. He's not good at it, but he's done it in the past. So in an emergency situation, maybe you could put him out there, but he can give you the left fielder that you're looking for in your platoon with Yordan Alvarez. So, yeah, Cody, I mean, Michael Conforto is not at the top of my list of available options for the Astros and the remainder of free agency, but they could do a lot worse. I'd have no problem with him being an Astro because I think he's still a pretty good player.
I have zero current interest in Michael Conforto, and I don't see that changing anytime soon.
Really?
I would just much rather have some various other options that are out there. I'd much rather bring back Michael Brantley than have Michael Conforto on this team. Not only was he bad in 2021, he was so hurt he couldn't even play a full year of baseball. I don't like that in the investment, and it's going to be a short-term investment in Michael Conforto. It doesn't have to, I suppose. Like, I suppose you could take a big gamble and sign him to a multi-year deal, but I've seen projections anywhere from 1 year $7 million to 1 year $19 million for Michael Conforto. Too much uncertainty is around him. I would rather go down a more recent, more proven route. Look, it's slim pickings from the outfield standpoint right now. There's not a lot of options. I just say right now, I don't want Conforto. I think he's a fine backup option. He's a fine fallback option. But there's just routes that I would go. I'd even explore trading for somebody before I would go down signing the Michael Conforto route.
Conforto or Bellinger? Who would you want?
Bellinger probably costs less, right?
Yes, I would say so.
I'd rather have Cody Bellinger than Michael Conforto.
Really?
I'd rather Conforto.
Me too. I mean, I'd rather Contreras than Conforto. I mean, I'm not paying Conforto $19 million. If we're talking about Wilson Contreras being in the $15 to $20 million a year range, give me that guy over Michael Conforto without question. But if I can get Conforto for around 10, somewhere lower in that range that you talked about, Cody, then I'd rather have him than Bellinger for sure. And rather have him than a lot of other guys at that price.
I still think Brantley would be what they would prefer to do. But the thing with Brantley, Jim Crane said it at one of his media availabilities. I forget if this was either at a press conference or if he just told us in an interview at MLB.com. Brantley is not going to be ready until maybe March. So they won't have an idea on what his status is until March. That's when the recovery timeline would be for him to maybe be cleared to start playing again. So can you sit around and wait that long before making a decision? I mean, if you have a feeling he's going to be good to go, then sure.
Hey.
But you got to make a move before then, you would think.
Maybe you hope Conforto doesn't sign like last year. Maybe you hope that he waits a long time, hope he gets a certain deal and nobody else offers it so he's still available in March when you have that decision. I mean, that's dumb. That's bad business because if somebody gives Conforto the deal he's looking for, then he's going to sign, and you're going to miss out on your opportunity.
What is he
So,
looking for is what I'd
I
want
don't
to
know.
know.
I think this is a potential buy low spot for the Astros. I really do. Like, I don't think he's going to cost $19 million. That'd be ridiculous if a team's willing to pay that guy that much money, considering the surgery that he's coming off of, and considering the fact that he hasn't played in over a year. And once again, in 2021, the last time he did play, he didn't play all that well. So I don't think anyone's giving him that kind of money. If someone wants to do that, more power to him. I'm not batting an eyelash if I'm an Astros fan. But I think this could be a buy low spot for a guy who could give you a good return. This could be a low risk, high reward type of situation. I don't think he'd be super reliant on Michael Conforto. Where would he be batting? 7th for you in your lineup? Like, it's not a guy, if you bring in, you're expecting major things, and the whole success of your season depends on whether or not that guy can produce. But I think it's a buy low, potential really good return for Michael Conforto, because I still think he's got some left in the tank once again.
What if you could get Bryce Harper?
What if I can get Bryce Harper?
Stay with me here. But not quite Bryce Harper. What about Japanese Bryce Harper?
This is a classic, like, sell me the pen, like in Wolf of Wall Street is what you're about to do here.
Masataka Yoshida is a free agent. Home run guy, high average, plays the outfield, also DH'd in Japan. Doesn't cost Conforto money. Longer commitment to him.
How do we know? We know he doesn't cost Conforto money?
He doesn't cost Conforto. The length of contract's longer. He just doesn't cost. He's not going to cost Conforto money. Again, I'm going on the $19 million. Okay.
Yeah. Okay.
That's what ESPN's projection for Conforto is.
Absurd.
You know, I'm going on the $19 million, 15 to $19 million. Doesn't seem like he's going to cost Conforto money. I mean, teams like the Orioles are checking in on this guy, so you know he's not costing a tremendous amount.
$200,000?
No, he's not $200,000, but
Too high?
he's been compared and evokes Bryce Harper comparisons from scouts who scout Japan. What about the Japanese Bryce Harper, Masataka Yoshida?
I'm going to need a scout from Japan on before I comment on this.
Okay.
Andrew, get me a scout from Japan.
Do we have any connects out there?
You guys know I have an affinity for pitchers that throw weird, and I have affinity for Japanese free agent baseball players.
You really do. I feel like, look, we worked together now several years, going back to our national days on Sports Map Radio. You love having the conversation about Japanese baseball players.
Japanese free agent baseball
You
players.
want a Japanese superstar here in Houston.
I mean, look, when I read about this guy evoking comparisons to Bryce Harper with his sweet swing, you know, I kind of get excited about the chance of a Japanese version of Bryce Harper being in this lineup.
I'll take him.
Masataka Yoshida.
I'm a fan. You've been keeping up with the NPB, huh? You're a big fan of that league?
Not really. I just kind of see these guys pop up on the radar and start learning about them.
In the offseason, you see their name, and it's like, oh, God, I got to pay attention to that guy. That's fair.
Now, here's the thing. There are names that pop up that, like, oh, be watching. I knew Ohtani was coming over and was going to be this big deal for like 3-4 years. It took a while for him to get over here. You know, the same thing with Cody Stoots. I've been paying attention to him for a couple of years. I knew he's coming over. It just takes a while for these guys to get over here.
Why don't the Astros hire you to be in their front office? You could be their Japanese scout. Think about that. You could quit radio. They'll send you to Japan. You live there for half the year.
How's your Japanese, Cody?
Non-existent, but I would learn. I would very much try to learn that.
It'd be fitting. They have a guy in their front office that's an assistant GM that used to work at SB Nation. You used to work at SB Nation Radio. Honestly, I think we might have something here.
Wow.
You could be Jeff Bagwell's lead assistant for Japanese scouting.
If you miss a couple of days of work and the Astros end up signing this guy, I'm going to assume it's your doing. I'm going to assume you took a trip to Japan and talked to some people and then got this deal done for the Stros back home.
Let's ask the listener, should Cody be the Astros Japanese scout?
Goodness.
Yes or no? Let us know. 713-780-3776.
I mean, I don't hate that move, man. Look, you never know how a guy's going to translate coming over from another league. I don't expect him to be Bryce Harper, and if he was, I don't think the Orioles would be in the running for him because he'd be way too expensive. But I'd be okay with taking a flyer on this guy, and his numbers speak for themselves, and he'd help you sell tickets for sure. I was up in the Metroplex when the Rangers brought in Yu Darvish, and there was just a whole new buzz and excitement around that ball club. They sold a lot more tickets, which allowed them to go out and get some other players. Now, it feels like Jim Crane's spending. The Astros have spent pretty well over the last few years, but that'd sell more tickets and allow you to bring in some other players, too, in the future. So I think you could do worse than that.
336 batting average, 21 home runs, and a OPS of just over 1,000 for the Japanese Bryce Harper, Masataka Yoshida.
Do you want him over Wilson Contreras?
No, I want Wilson Contreras.
No,
more than
you
him.
do. Just admit it.
I want Kodai Senga more than Wilson Contreras.
Yeah,
Okay.
you want a Japanese superstar here in Houston.
Trade Jose Urquidy, sign Kodai Senga, and then use Urquidy to get a left fielder. Bing, bang, boom. We've solved the Astros.
I need your top 10 NPB prospects during tomorrow's show, please. Give me a list. And then I want KBO on Monday, all right?
Some responses from listeners if you want it.
My favorite part of bringing it up was BK's disgust, where he didn't know where I was going when I was like, what if you guys could get Bryce Harper?
Yeah.
And he was like, well, what if I could get Bryce Harper? He was like about to just kill me.
I wasn't disgusted. I was pumped.
He was-
I was excited.
He was about to stab me with a pen. He was like, what is this idiot talking about?
You think Jim Crane and Dusty Baker would trade Jose Urquidy for Bryce Harper? I say no.
I think now they would.
I don't know.
Well, Bryce Harper's not going to play for half the year, so I would say right now
Nope.
they wouldn't.
Nope, I don't think so either.
281 number wrote, Cody's too tall to be in Japan. Someone else wrote, no, hell no.
I did used to have a shirt that said I'm huge in Japan.
Nice.
You love the Japanese
A
culture.
little double entendre, but not really because you're not popular in Japan, so more of a single entendre.
Yeah.
An 832 number says, Cody could go there, but he has to dress like Jim Belushi in Samurai Chef.
That. I would wear a traditional Japanese garb if I was necessary. So
Too
I would
much
do that.
drinking and sushi for Cody, says an 832 number as well.
I feel like I'd accidentally end up in a sumo dojo and
Whoa!
be
They sell tickets to those things?
That should be a lose your punishment, by the way. You have to go to a sumo dojo.
go sumo wrestling.
You go sumo wrestling for the day.
I like that.
I have Googled how to sumo wrestle in America before.
And
It's actually not difficult. There's sumo tournaments all over the country.
you haven't done one, though.
I haven't done one, though. No.
How would you do? You used to wrestle back in the day.
I think I do okay. I've got decent balance despite my size, even though when I wrestled in high school, I was much smaller than I am now, but I've always maintained decent balance. So balance is a big thing. It's not totally strength. It's more technique. I know a lot more about sumo than I have let on, apparently.
Should be a station charity event. Sumo against Stootsy.
Yes.
The other person's wearing a suit, and you're wearing you.
I'm nude? What am I? I don't want to sumo in the nude.
You know what I mean.
I'll wear the traditional garb.
There you go.
If you want in on Conforto, if you want in on Japanese Bryce Harper, or if you want in on Cody being the Astros' Japanese lead scout, you can call in to 713-780. ESPN is the number.
Hey, you made it to the end of the video. Thanks so much for watching. If you liked what you saw, hit the like button down below, and of course, subscribe to my channel. And if you're a Houston sports fan, listen to ESPN Houston 97.5 FM or 92.5 FM weekdays from 3 to 7 every afternoon.